to lie to Congress?
He told the special counsel, Steve. I don't think he's told a whole bunch of people. He didn't tell me. It appears to us that, from our sourcing, that they had the broad contours of this directive before he ever showed up. And when he did, this was one of the lines of inquiry that they pressed on him. And if you look at his sentencing memo, the special counsel indicates there that Ms. Cohen gave credible and helpful information about how he put together the letters and his testimony to Congress. So it appears that in the sentencing memo filed, I think it was last month.
This should be now, by the way.
Leaving at least a breadcrumb or clue.
This should be now, by the way.
That there was something here about Michael Cohen preparing his testimony to Congress that was of interest and of use to the special counsel. So it was sort of sitting out there and perhaps hidden in plain sight.
And I'm reading from your reporting, Anthony, saying that the special counsel's office learned about Trump's directive for Cohen to lie to Congress through interviews with multiple witnesses from the Trump Organization and internal company emails, text messages, and a cache of other documents. Cohen then acknowledged those instructions during his interview with that office. And this brings us back to the extensive criminal investigative discovery that the prosecutors have been doing inside the Trump Organization, inside the Trump company. Right. We know they have, to some degree, the cooperation from the chief financial officer in there. Donald Trump's, in effect, longtime accountant within the company. And so that's, for Michael Cohen to be walking into an interview where they've already obtained references to these kinds of things through Trump Organization emails and text, as you say, Michael Cohen had to know right away.
We're back now with our big breaking news. Buzzfeed reporting that President Trump personally directed his longtime attorney, Michael Cohen, to lie to Congress about the Moscow Trump Tower project. Their sources, 2 federal law enforcement officials involved in an investigation of the matter. Buzzfeed says special counsel Robert Mueller's team learned about Trump's directive for Cohen to lie to Congress through interviews with multiple witnesses from the Trump Organization, as well as emails, texts, and other documents. CNN has not yet confirmed the report. But here to discuss, Timothy Naftali, the author of Witnesses from the Trump Organization, as well as emails, texts, and other documents. CNN has not yet confirmed the report. But here to discuss, Timothy Naftali, the author of Impeachment and American History, and David Rode joins us as well. Good evening, gentlemen. So I have to start with this BuzzFeed reporting tonight. An impeachable offense? I'll start with you, Tim.
Impeachment is a political process. The first thing the president's defenders are going to say is this is hearsay. They're going to want to see the evidence. They want the evidence that the big man ordered the suborning of perjury. This was a big deal in the Nixon era, but you had the tapes. And on the tapes, you could hear the big man actually order the obstruction of justice. So the question here is, what are the sources that drove the investigators to conclude that the president suborned perjury? If those sources make it clear that Trump ordered it, that's one thing. If it's somebody else saying the big man wants this done, that's hearsay. And I don't think you'll get 67 senators to throw him out of office.
David, I want you to listen. This is Senator Amy Klobuchar and AG nominee Barr on Tuesday. Barr, excuse me.
In your memo, you talked about the Comey decision, and you talked about obstruction of justice, and you already went over that, which I appreciate. You wrote on page 1 that a president persuading a person to commit perjury would be obstruction. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Or any person who persuades another to, yeah.
Okay. You also said that a president or any person convincing a witness to change testimony would be obstruction. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
What position is Barr now? Is he going to be called back to testify?
He could be. I was at the entire hearing through the 7 hours, and I just want to back up what Tim said. That's what Klobuchar asked. That's what the Democrats were pushing on. All of the Republicans were basically saying they will stand by this president. And unless there is a smoking gun, a tape, clear proof that he ordered Michael Cohen to lie to Congress, which is an impeachable offense. But without that kind of proof, Republicans aren't going to move. And you saw how hesitant Barr was there. He was being very careful. He's trying to get confirmed. He's got to keep the president happy, Republicans happy. But, the atmosphere at that hearing was not at all that the Republican Party is shifting away from the president, and they're going to believe Michael Cohen, over Donald Trump.
Here's what the incoming chairman of the House Intelligence Committee just tweeted. He said the allegation that the President of the United States may have suborned perjury before our committee is an effort to curtail the investigation, and cover up his business dealings with Russia is among the most serious to date. We will do what's necessary to find out if it's true. And then Joaquin Castro tweeted this. If the Buzzfeed story is true, President Trump
It was short, I'm sorry. Just on my penis.
Well, after a year-long probe looking into Russian links into the U.S. 2016 election, and the House Intelligence Committee has released its final report. Now, it is a redacted version, but it mostly clears Donald Trump of any wrongdoing while slamming the intelligence community for what it calls significant failings. But this probe was just one of several looking into the question of Russian influence. The Senate Intelligence Committee is also doing its own report. And let's not forget the one led by the special counsel Robert Mueller. But for a look at the House's redacted report, we're now reaching out to national security lawyer Bradley Moss. He joins us in the U.S. Capitol. Bradley, nice to have you on the program. I want to begin here with the reaction that we're getting from Donald Trump at the release of this, again, the House Intelligence Committee report. And this is what Donald Trump had to say on Twitter, saying, quote, just out, House Intelligence Committee report released no evidence that the Trump campaign colluded, coordinated, or conspired with Russia. Clinton campaign paid for opposition research obtained from Russia. Wow, a total witch hunt must end now. So that is the U.S. president's conclusion. What do you make of that, Bradley?
Well, look, I mean, this is the president, I think, latching on to anything he could have from a political and a PR standpoint to try to reinforce the argument he's been making that there was no collusion, that no crimes were committed. What the report shows, and this is, mind you, just a limited report in the sense that it's run by the House Intelligence Committee. They don't have readily available access to a grand jury or the prosecutorial authority that the special counsel has. But even with the House Intelligence Committee's investigation, they found repeated instances in which the Trump campaign officials, including the president's son, were willing to sit down in meetings with what was alleged to have been, what was promised to be damaging information provided by the Russian government, that they were willing to take steps that even the House Intelligence Committee, the majority on the committee of Republicans, said were ill-advised. They reflected poor judgment. And it makes it very clear throughout this report that the entirety of the Trump campaign was naive and arguably very susceptible to an influence campaign by Russian government operatives.
But at the end of the day, they essentially clear him of wrongdoing. Yes, you're making those points, but they essentially clear him of wrongdoing. And one does wonder, did Republicans actually show willingness to investigate, or was this really all a foregone conclusion for them as a way to support the president that represents their party?
Well, I think there's both two sides to look at this. I mean, one, look, this was very much, in some instances, pass blocking for the president, a political, checking of the boxes by Republicans on the Intelligence Committee, doing what they could show as, bare bones diligence while not actually investigating very deeply.
This is not news. There's a journalist asking someone else, and that person is analyzing.
President issued this statement on Twitter. It's unclear what he's referring to. It says, quote, total.
Trying to prove the proof.
Here's the president. Thank you!
I just had to burp.
Exclamation point. What you're laughing? I'm not exactly sure what the president is referring to.
Well, I would say that there's nothing that totally clears the president, because the document from the Southern District of New York continues to implicate President Trump. It says that he's the one who directed.
President issued this statement on Twitter. It's unclear what he's referring to. It says, quote, totally clears the president. Thank you! exclamation point. What you're laughing. I'm not exactly sure what the president is referring to.
Well, you know, I would say that there's nothing that totally clears the president, because the document from the Southern District of New York continues to implicate President Trump. It says that he's the one who directed Michael Cohen to make payments to women during the campaign, so that's a clear implication. And this latest one from Mueller's team, it doesn't directly implicate the president, but it also doesn't clear him. It says that Michael Cohen was out there making up a lot of lies to try to protect President Trump. And we know that Donald Trump not only went along with these lies, but parroted a lot of them during the campaign and once he was in the White House in terms of the Moscow project, but also his payments to women. So I'm not sure how this exonerates.
I'm not sure what maybe Jim Acosta, our chief White House correspondent, understands what the president is referring to. You just saw the tweet as well, right, Jim?
Just as a person that has traveled, I've seen a lot of women who are very pro-Trump. And the thing is that as a politician, hey, you want to come up here and help me be flamboyant? I mean, I'll do what I can, you know. If I got money, I'll throw you some money. If I've got freaking, hey, freaking, I just got a whole bunch of freaking, excuse me, cucumbers. Want some cucumbers? And no, that's not any window. I'm just looking at it like something I like, you know, it's vegetarian. It's whatever the hell. If I were a politician and I seen a weasel, I'd freaking feed him to the point that he hung himself.
That's right, Wolf. You know, individual one uses roughly 5 or 6 words here. Totally clears the president, period, thank you. It is very strange, Wolf, to see the president tweet that. Obviously, he is trying to send the message, you know, and I will probably hear other things from him as the night goes on, or perhaps tomorrow morning. He's trying to get the message out to his supporters as soon as possible that he feels that what Michael Cohen is faced with this filing that went into the Southern District of New York earlier today somehow is beneficial to him. But as you guys were just saying, over the last hour or so, you go through all of these documents, and obviously it doesn't clear the president. And as we saw earlier this morning, there was this blizzard of tweets from the president, a tweet storm earlier today. He was obviously very frustrated, obviously very concerned about what was going to unfold later on today, and it seems as his immediate reaction, his initial reaction, is that he feels like there's nothing really in this Cohen filing that's damaging to him. Now, if you, as you've been saying just a few moments ago, if you read through these documents, if you read through this filing, especially when you get to the part where Michael Cohen providing information to the special counsel's office about contacts with the White House, individuals associated with the White House in 2017 and 2018. Perhaps the president has not read that portion of these documents, or perhaps his lawyers haven't filled him in on that. But that obviously, I would think that would be worrisome to any White House, especially for a White House that is on the verge of bringing in a new attorney general. You know, that is just a universe of worries, I would think, for a White House, because they don't exactly know what specifically the special counsel.
breaking news this morning. CNN has obtained transcripts that explain why the FBI opened an investigation into whether the President of the United States was working on behalf of Russia against American interests. These are transcripts of closed-door congressional interviews with two FBI officials who testified that officials were looking into whether President Trump was, quote, this follows a weekend of just huge headlines. The New York Times.
A new paycheck on Friday. This morning, Shimon.
Well, you know, Allison, these transcripts really give us a window into some of what was going on in the FBI, some of their thinking. Now, these two transcripts of the two FBI officials' closed-door congressional interviews reveal on one end that there was the idea that Trump fired Comey at the behest of Russia. And then on the other was the possibility that Trump was completely innocent and was acting within the bounds of his executive authority. Now, James Baker, the then top FBI lawyer, described the FBI's thinking.
Excuse me. And I was just trying to make freaking simple little video here. Do I think Trump is personally guilty? Nope. He has no fiscal liability. Does he have influence? I would strongly investigate that further. He's a businessman. He's an international man. And if there was just this investigation on Trump, then why isn't he impeached already? Obviously, there's not enough damn evidence if the damn FBI went in on it. So, what's the fucking system? Who the fuck are we supposed to trust? Not the goddamn FBI, and I'm not even talking about fucking Trump. I'm talking about my own fucking shit. I'm just talking about shit in general. Even when I was in the military, I went through a botched fucking surgery. They could put me back on a fucking field. But I don't give a fuck. They could put me back on a fucking field. Best fucking medical system in the fucking world. Fucking suck my goddamn short dick. You know?
Hillary could breathe a sigh of relief as FBI Chief James Comey announced agents had found nothing new in those recently discovered 650,000 emails found on Anthony Weiner's laptop, leading to headlines like this in the New York Post. Based on our review, we have not changed our conclusions that we expressed in July.
Oh my fucking God.
Infuriated Donald Trump.
This is a rigged system. Hillary.
It is a rigged system. And you know, fuck it. If I can't be president, I'm gonna be fucking helping the president in 2020. You can guarantee you that. You fuckers. And I'm not pro Trump, I'm not pro what it is, I'm just fucking pro fucking middle finger or whatever. It's pissing someone off. Yeah, I'm more inclined to do that. You pieces of shit. Deuces. Fuck you. Deuces. No, because this thing is going to cut off because, well, you know what? Maybe I will record this last little fucking moment. Just because I said recording failed. Are you still recording though? Oh, you're still recording. Oh, fucking, I'll just go back to what I was fucking doing. I'm pretty certain you heard me. Alright, so. I might warm up a little bit, right? It wasn't blue. Yeah. Hi. That's all he did. Maybe yours. Well, wait. Wait, no, you know what? What are you doing? And then, you know what? I'm not freaking, indulge a little bit. Remember our founding fathers? What the fuck they do before they fucking took over the goddamn nation? That's basically what I'm trying to fucking find because I'm under fucking goddamn moonlight right now. And I just don't think there's anybody that serious. Friggin'. But we can all figure out what it means. We know what we want. And well, we need to smooth out the fucking edges. I'm the rough fucking edge. Fucking smooth me the fuck out. I want this country great. And I'm about pissed and cigarette away from passing out. Peace. Oh, wait. What'd I do?